Welcome to the April 24th Davidson County Board of Commissioners meeting. We always love to see our citizens show up and to get involved. Thank you. We'll start off by asking Zach Crotts, Commissioner Crotts, to do the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
God, we come to you in prayer. We want to thank you for being good to us when sometimes we haven't been so good to you. You're a merciful God, always looking out for us. God, I want to thank you for the privilege to serve the citizens of Davidson County. It is an honor and a privilege, and I think we all the elected officials here in our county would feel the same way. God, it's you that give us the permission and put us where we need to be to serve the people. God, if you would, please help our citizens, our community, with the struggles that we all face. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a reminder, because I had to remind myself, if you got your cell phones, please put it on vibrate. Okay, we got Krista Weeks of the Lexington Chamber is scheduled to be our councilor. Krista, nice to have you, Krista. We've got Alan Carson, our Lexington City Manager. Nice to have you here. And we'd like to recognize Dr. Walser and the members of the Wilcox Bridge Fork York Committee. Okay, please register if you want to speak at the public address. And we've got the Commissioner McClure and Commissioner Yates that is unable to attend tonight. And I can have a motion second to excuse Commissioner McClure and Commissioner Yates.
Make a motion to excuse Commissioner McClure and Yates.
Okay, I've got a motion. We'll have a second.
I'll second
Okay.
Verbally, sir?
Yes, all in favor?
it.
Okay. Any opposition? Okay. Okay, due to the anticipated length of the public hearing portion of this evening's meeting, I would like to request that the public hearing section be moved to the end of the agenda following closed session. Mr. Goodson, our EDC Director, has requested that agenda item 8C, the public hearing for Project Foil, be pulled from the agenda. Are there any other changes for the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, in addition to the closed session for real property, I'd ask if the board would consider adding a closed session for attorney-client.
Any objection to that? Okay. Okay. Can I have a motion second to approve the amended agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and second. Please cast your vote.
Wait a minute, let me make the motion.
Are we hitting the C button this time?
We are.
Okay.
All the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Is there anyone ready? Okay, we've got two people registered for the public address. Mr. Barney W. Hill.
It just gets more and more ridiculous. 7 public hearings in one meeting. Seems like 9. I think I thought that was a record, but actually it's a tie. The runner-up would have been the Thomasville City Council meeting of September the 22nd, 1998. So now you're tied with that. It had 7 public hearings. You know and I know that if you schedule 7 public hearings on the same agenda, you can't do justice to any of them. And you can't do justice to any of the other items on the agenda. So let's get on with it.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. And Gail Westbrook, is that, if I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Gail Westbrook, and I really don't want to be here. But because of the event of April 17th on Highway 52 and Homer Street in Welcome, I feel compelled to speak before you. It is respectfully requested that you help me make sense of why my dearest friend, Gene Snyder, was killed in my front yard by a Davidson County deputy. There was no crime being committed in Welcome. No citizen was in harm's way of a bad guy anywhere in this county. The only danger was 2 deputies traveling at a high rate of speed from Ducina's on the north end of Welcome to the south end where it ended in my front yard. Business owners on Highway 52 report that the deputy's vehicle was traveling so fast it preceded the sound of the siren. Let me repeat that. Business owners said that the vehicle preceded the sound of the sirens. It was also witnessed that the deputy passed more than one vehicle on a double-line portion of Highway 52. Gene Snyder, turning onto the road of his home, didn't have a chance. The deputy was able to walk out of his car. Mr. Snyder was not. His front seat was literally unbolted from the floor. Every window in his vehicle blew out from the sheer force of the impact. Mr. Snyder had a broken jaw, fractured neck, broken hip, broken pelvis, ruptured spleen and liver. His intestines were pushed up under his chest. Sergeant Childress has a broken hand and a sore shoulder. Sergeant Childress was airlifted to the hospital, not an 88-year-old man. If this is how you protect the citizens of Davidson County, stay away from me and my family. This investigation better continue, and I want answers, and so do the other citizens of Welcome. Does law enforcement not have to abide by the same road safety laws as the rest of us? I ask you again, help me make sense of this senseless accident. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Westbrook. Okay. Are there any items to remove from the consent agenda for discussion? Okay, if not, can I have a motion second to approve the consent agenda?
Motion approved, consent agenda.
Okay, a motion, do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that, but I do want to point out that, moving forward, anytime that we, award a badge of service and a weapon, I would ask that the, individual come before the board and let the board, give that to them at that time, instead of doing it on a consent agenda.
Okay, you got a motion and a second, do I cast your vote?
Mr. Crock, can I have your vote, please? Thank you. All of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we have a proclamation, National Law Enforcement Week. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed May the 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which it fell National Law Enforcement Week, to pay special attention to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And whereas there are approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in the communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Davis County Sheriff's Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, more than 20,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas National Law Enforcement Week will be observed this year from May 13th through May 19th, and whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial Fund's 30th Annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2018, and whereas the Townsville Police Department has an event every year on the Tuesday of National Law Enforcement Week, there will be a memorial for all those fallen from agencies in Davidson County, with this year's event being held on May 16, 2017. And whereas all citizens of Davidson County should remember and recognize the men and women who serve and protect them, and keep in mind that there are law enforcement officers working in the county every hour of every day to ensure that they remain safe. Therefore, be it resolved that the Davis County Board of Commissioners formally designates May the 13th through the 19th, 2018 as National Law Enforcement Week in Davidson County, and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in the communities across this nation, adopted this 24th day of April, 2018. Can I have a motion second to adopt the proclamation?
Make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Cast your vote. Okay, got a proclamation, Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month. I'm going to ask Commissioner Barrett if he would read this.
Proclamation, Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, May 2018. Whereas motorcycle riding is a popular form of recreation and transportation for thousands of citizens across North Carolina and the United States, and whereas North Carolina has over 179,000 registered motorcycles and over 443,000 licensed drivers who have either a motorcycle endorsement or a motorcycle learner's permit, according to the Division of Motor Vehicles. And whereas it is important that the citizens of North Carolina be aware of motorcycles on our roadways and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety and of sharing the roadways. And whereas the safe operation of a motorcycle is enhanced through a combination of rider education and training, experience, highly visible safety gear, including a compliant helmet, good judgment, and a knowledge of traffic laws and licensing requirements. And whereas several organizations such as the Davidson County Concerned Bikers, along with the North Carolina Motorcycle Safety Education Program, and other state and local motorcycle clubs and riding social clubs, are committed to increasing the safe operation of motorcycles by promoting rider safety education programs. And whereas May is traditionally observed as a time to remind and encourage other motor vehicle operators to be cautious and observe motorcycles, especially during their seasonal return to our streets and highways. And whereas it is the goal of these organizations to alert the motorists of Davidson County and its municipalities to look twice and save a life. And whereas Motorcycle Awareness Month is designed to increase public awareness about motorcycles and to encourage their safe and proper use among motorcycle riders. Now, therefore, the Davidson County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of May 2018 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in Davidson County, North Carolina, and urge all citizens to call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. This is the 24th day of April 2018. And I'd like to add, even though this is mentioned so often, that it's illegal to mow your grass clippings into the road. Even though that's what so many people do, because they don't want to come back around and go back over the big, especially during wet periods, that clump of grass. It is against the law to blow those out into the road, because it's so dangerous for motorcycles, not just motorcycles, any type of vehicle, bicyclists, and even cars. I just wanted to add that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the motorcycle safety awareness.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to add that to the proclamation, what Commissioner Barrett just said, which is, I was going to bring up, not only is it illegal, but also if you have a death that's caused by that, the motorcyclist, if they're injured or if they die, their family can actually sue you for wrongful death for having grass clippings in the road. So as an insurance side, you may want to be aware of that, and hopefully the dispatch maybe will put that in the article. It is very dangerous to put your grass clippings in a roadway.
Is that a specific that the Commissioner Jarvis would entertain as far as his motion?
I don't know if you'd want to put that in the proclamation with it already. Would you have wording to be able to
We could add some wording.
arrange?
I can add the wording out and send it to all of y'all for a thumbs up and get the chairman's sign.
Okay, would we approve that though,
You could
not,
approve
not having seen, I mean, we're looking at, you know how we look at different documents and things, would you want to approve that before we've actually seen it? And I think we need to approve this tonight.
That's fine. We can always go back and do another resolution.
So,
or
the
whatever.
motion that
That's fine.
stands, do we have a second?
Add it next year, I'll put a note on
Yeah.
it when I'm
Yeah.
putting it in my
Okay.
folder.
I have no
Add that.
problem adding it, I just want to be able to approve this tonight.
Okay, motion that stands, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, cast your vote.
I have your vote, please. There we go, okay, all of the votes are in, and that motion carries 5-0.
Okay, Wilcox Bridge, Fort York update. Dr. Walser, please.
They probably got one up.
I think that was Larry Potts.
Larry, I've got this for Larry. First thing I want to do is say to you, I always try to do this, thank you for what you do. I know what it's like, I've sat up there, it is not something that's easy, it's a sacrifice, and I appreciate what you do. I want to introduce the people on the committee, Wilcox Bridge Committee, that are here. By the way, you appointed this committee, and except for me, you did a great job. I've had a lot of committees back in my superintendent days and county commissioner. This is the best committee that I've ever served with. And I'm not just blowing smoke when I say that. They're very good at what they do. Three of you are sitting up here now. Commissioner Barrett, Commissioner Sheriff, Commissioner Cross. You appointed them, and they have been diligent, coming to meetings. I don't think the three of them have missed altogether more than 2 meetings in 2 years that I know about. So, the other members that are here, Catherine Clifton, you know, in almost every committee that I've served on, somebody emerges to be sort of my right arm. Catherine Clifton has been there. She's a smart lady, and she's an employee of yours, but she's very good at what she does. In fact, she very much put together this whole presentation. Guy Coleman, not for him, we couldn't get things done either. And I'll go ahead and say to you, before he says it for him, the bridge that was built, his granddaddy helped build it. I have to say that, because he always tells me.
1923, wasn't it, Dr. Walser? 24?
See him to the left, former commissioner sitting here, Thomas Martin, somewhere back there, he keeps saying moving with our bridge stuff. Betty Fowler is right here, Chris Phelps, who also has been very good about getting money and a lot of other things. Chris Watford knows more about this area down here and around the bridge than anybody I know sitting right there. Who did I miss? I got y'all, okay. What you see right up here on this screen, by the way, the projector hasn't gotten any better since I left than it is now. You can't see some of this stuff, and I apologize, but it is what it is. But what you're looking at right there is probably the first meeting we had, one of the first meetings we had in 2015, after you really took the bridge over. And by the way, in 2010, March the 9th, there was a vote to take over the bridge, and it took 5 years, really, to get everything going because of the bureaucracy and red tape. Anyway, one of the first meetings we had, Chip Holton, artist, came to our meeting at somebody's request, and he sat there, and as we talked, he drew pictures. And you can't see all this, but there's a lot of stuff on there that we have been trying to do, and it sort of set the stage for all of our planning. Now, again, I'm not going to try, you can't read that anyway, but there's a lot of ideas on there that ended up, for example, that one right there is bike path. Captain, what's this right here?
Dr. Walser, if you can't see it, right there is a clear picture of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't think you were going to be able to do that.
I'm not gonna be able to follow slide for slide.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that is better. You folks in the audience can see that. Okay, so, anyway, the whole purpose for showing that is, that's what started this whole operation and helped generate the ideas. Next slide. I don't know who did that photograph, I love it. It says a lot about that bridge and that river. And I'll go ahead and say this. The river, the reason we're here is because that river is here. The reason we have Fort York, and that's what we're talking about here, the Wilcox Bridge and Fort York. And the reason we have Fort York is because we had a Civil War. The last battle, after the last battle of the Civil War, White Britain was falling up the hill from this bridge. This is unfortunately, you can't see this bridge when you drive over it or drive down on 85, but it's a beautiful bridge. People that go canoeing and fishing and whatever see these spandrel arches. There are 8 of them. I said it right there. 8. There's 4 here and 4 on the other side. And right in here is the railroad. And again, Fort York, which has enormous potential for tourism going forward, would not be up there if it had not been for that railroad. That's what Stoner was. He came here because of that bridge. The bridge was going to be destroyed because it was supplying the Union forces with supplies, and it needed to be destroyed, and that's what that line is all about. Okay, moving on. There is an enormous history. You commissioners, most of you have heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. There's a trading port down the river. Let's see if I can find it. Am I on it, Captain? This trading port historically has been so important, going back 12,000 years with the Native Americans. We have artifacts that have been found all around there that show that Sapona and Kiwanis or whoever, a number of different tribes of Indians were all in there. And that trading port pretty much brought people there because when there's a little water, you can walk across it. Now, since the dams have been built, you can't much do that. But we'll talk about it a little bit later, but it's a lot of history and that sort of centered around that trading port. It took me most of my lifetime to understand that even before the Lost Colony, we had the Spaniards up in this neck of the woods. And one part of it came up and colonized, I reckon, somewhere above that, where that bridge presently exists. Next. Okay. By the way, what I'm telling you is what we've been studying 2 years. Once a month for 2 years, all this that I'm sharing with you came together because of the ideas of this committee. But what you're looking at right here is where the British camped in 1781. And coming behind them was General Cornwallis chasing General Greene. General Greene came up and crossed the river where that trading port is that night, a major storm, kinda like we had here, a lot of rain. That night, and Cornwallis came up, and he couldn't get across the river. He had to go up and cross at Shallow. There are a lot of history buffs that will tell you that this probably was one of the turning points in the Revolutionary War. Because they were on, it was called the Race to the Dam, and Greene got across, Battle of Guilford Courthouse took place, but we were poised for that. So there's just a lot of history. Let's see what else I want to say about that. Mainly there, the Revolutionary War. So let's go to the next one. I'm not sure, help me, is this a real photograph of a rendering?
No, it was an artist rendering.
Well, you can see that this artist looked at, on both sides of the river and didn't see many trees. Now, the trees everywhere now. But the crossing here, where I guess federal forces, Union forces going across that river, prisoners of war going across, we were taken across there. Next, I'm trying to be mindful of your time. This is a photograph, and probably the earliest photograph we have, done in 1936. I'm assuming some little airplane flew across that. But Yadkintown, which is right here, was built because North Carolina Finishing Company, I assume, was built in about 1916, and that's where all that came from. So, of course, the river helped with economic development then. It's going to help some more as we go forward. Next slide. This is when, in 1924, when this bridge was being constructed, that was a photograph that was taken. And that started the Wilcox Bridge right there. Of course, you don't see the span rails now. Next slide. Just a little bit of history. 2015, you finally took ownership of this bridge. There was a lot of discussion and a lot of back and forth, but I think it was one of the best decisions you've ever made, because I do believe, again, that going forward, Fort York and the Wilcox Bridge is going to be the biggest tourism attraction in this county, by far. Okay? What you see here, and you're right, you can see better, that was not going to show up, is it? Today. Okay, here's the Transportation Museum in Spencer. Wilcox Bridge, Fort York, Beards Bridge. When you go across the present bridge and look up the river, you'll see some pilots with Beards Bridge. It was built in, I believe, 1818. That's right, 1818, and survived through almost the whole century before it was finally torn down. In 1791, George Washington, on his southern tour, crossed right there. I say right there, but I can't pinpoint, but he's close to there, right, Chris?
Close enough.
Okay, close enough. He stayed in Salisbury that night and got up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I read his diary, and he came and put his horses on a ferry, and he got on another ferry, I think, and went across and had breakfast over here with a Mr. Young down in that community. And then, of course, went on, stopped in Reeves, where I grew up, and then on to Salem, stayed in Salem. Okay, then the business park is right here. So, and Boone's Cave's up here, so there's a lot of stuff in there that's going to be important as we go forward. You guys, if I miss something. All right, go to the next slide. What you see here is this Board of Commissioners and what they've done to acquire all this property. This is, y'all, is the bridge. That's the railroad bridge. Fort York, Alcoa gave us that piece of property, about 1.6 acres. The commissioners recently bought about 6 acres right here, and that's where the house sits, and you've got a deputy out there helping look after the place. So that all of that is now owned by Davidson County. Again, I think a stroke of genius that you've got all that. Next slide. It's too bad you can't see all that.
No, I'm following again now.
Pardon?
We're following again now.
Okay, it's too bad you can't see all that, but you've got on your desk 3 pieces of paper. That's the Wilcox Bridge Master Plan, and that's what we've been working on for any number, 2 years actually. And we have a lot of help with that. But this basically, it shows you what's gonna happen down there over time. Time and money. You're gonna see in a few minutes, we've got about $1.5 million that we pulled together for you and other sources, and Duke Energy and others. But I'll just ask you to, at your leisure, to look at all that. We can't see it all, but it's all there. Then the next slide is better. Now I'll talk a little bit about it. You can see you got parking spaces in here. Right down here, we're gonna have the seal of Davidson County. And the kiosk at the state's given us to tell all about what's going on here or there. The entrance to the bridge, and you'll have pavers in this area, and parking spaces all up and down here. Hopefully, and ideally, you'll have a walking trail along the river coming all the way up to the bridge. What else do I need to say about that? There's no way to describe the beauty and all that's going to take place right in here. And lights on the bridge. We now do have somewhere in this vicinity a pole that's got a camera on it. We had so much trouble with vandalism and people dumping stuff and marking stuff up, but we've got a camera now, so we're going to catch them. We hope. Next slide. That's the Wilcox Bridge Master Plan. The next one is the Fort York Master Plan. If you walk up on all that right now, you don't see the potential. But there are a lot of batteries all up and down here, and trenches. Only Chris Walker could tell you all about that. And by the way, we've taken people down there. We continue to take people to show them what's going to be possible in that whole area. Chris, you want to say anything else about that?
No, Max, I think you're doing pretty well.
Thank you. Okay, before I get to that, I'll tell you that you've seen the conceptual drawings done and approved by SHPA. Never can remember who SHPA is. It's a reservation group involved. We cut the trail at Fort York. It thinned out the vegetation, thanks to Thomas Marshall and his people. We've tried to remove unwanted items, dead trees, what have you. We've got construction drawings complete and ready to go to bid. And we've got security lights and cameras, as I said earlier. What you see up there, and I'm about to finish up, Commissioners. This is the funds that have been approved up to this point. A lot of it you did, but there have been other people, thank goodness, that have contributed. And we're just now getting ready to go out in the community and launch our program and start raising funds. This takes a lot of money to do what we're talking about doing, to make it right. But you will see there where the monies that we've accrued have come from. Of course, there's $2.5 million that you got settled in 2015. We spent some of that. It's tied up pretty good for the good of the bridge and maintain the bridge, but we've been able to spend a little bit of it. Okay, next slide. We're getting ready to get to the end of it. So we've already been going out to community, Kiwanis clubs, civic hands, talking about what we've done. We've had groups involved like Catawba College and North Carolina Department of Cultural Resources. Moving on. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Finally, what we have done, and Catherine says this is a word. I've never heard the word, but that's what this is. You'll see a lot of things on there that we've been doing. what we want you to do tonight, go to the next slide, we'll finish up. We spent several meetings trying to come up with a name for this whole park area down there. You got the Yakin River area, Fort York, the bridge. We had 57 names that our committee dealt with and discussed and argued about, and these are the final 3 names that they've come up with. And what I'm gonna ask you to do, if you would tonight, is approve those 3 names, and then we wanna go to the community and ask for their input about naming this bridge. And that's one of the ways we're gonna engage the community, is by asking them to help us name this. And if you don't feel comfortable about approving those names tonight, do it at your next meeting, but we need to get on with it. That's my presentation. Thank you very much for all your support. It's gonna be a good thing. It's gonna be good for the citizens of this county. I'm confident of that. I may not be able to see it all, Zach, you will, but some rest of us might not. But it's gonna be good.
I'm gonna be here.
Okay, I'm big. If you got any questions, let me have it. Any questions, comments?
What's the pleasure of the board as far as consideration of those 3 names?
Well, I will say that all the people on that committee, you've sat there, Zach, you've sat there, they have the knowledge of this area way more than any of us do. And these are the 3 names that board came up with, and it's not an accident. They studied Trading Forward, they studied the historical angles about that whole area, and it came down to those 3. So I feel very hesitant about going against those final 3. Consider all the knowledge of that area are the ones that picked those 3 names. So I'll just leave it at that.
I agree, and you, when you try to, you're sitting down there and you're trying to come up with just the perfect name, and the next thing you know, you got a name this long. So it's got to be something that grabs people and represents what we're trying to do.
And of course, Catherine Clifton will be the first to say that even though some of these pieces may not be in the name, like Fort York is not in the name, you can tagline all that stuff so when people bring it up, they see all the other little pieces, even though it may not be in the official name. So
it's really difficult with that one because, like Spencer Railroad, well, it's Spencer Railroad. That's all that's there. With here, you've got, the Trading Forward, you've got Fort York, you've got Wilcox Bridge. Eventually, there'll be a greenway going through. You've got the river access. You've got so many different things that's going on there. It's not just one piece of the puzzle. And I like what Catherine had said that, then you can have Fort York at the Yadkin Bridge, whatever we name it. I purposely didn't vote on any of this. I had no discussion because I knew we were going to vote on it as a 7. But I always sit back and kind of listen to the experts like Sim and different folks talk about it and just kind of take that into consideration. I think I agree with Commissioner Barrett. We ought to stick to one of those 3 names. A lot of thought and research has went into it, but it's the pleasure of the board of what we want to do.
And I think what Max said is correct. At least take these 3 final names to the community, and maybe they can help say what they think the one choice is going to be. But these final 3 that the board came up with, the committee rather, I think those are 3 good names to take forward out into the community.
Mr. Chairman, if you're ready, I would make a motion to approve these 3 names. Personally, I sort of like Trading Forward Park at the Yadkin.
Yes.
Just take the river off at the Yadkin. But that's just an opinion. But I would make a motion to approve the names.
Okay.
Take to the committee.
Part of that, are we going to take those 3 names and send it back out to the community to vote on? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, take it back to the community, let them.
Are we going to do a social media, then website, and then maybe a public? Okay. All right. Just want to make sure we're clear on that.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Commissioner?
Yeah, I'd like to just say one thing, though.
Okay.
These 3 names, and I agree that these are 3 good names. What if the public comes up with a name that you like better?
Well, they're gonna have to come back to
They'll
us
bring
with
it back,
the name.
bring it back to this board.
You're gonna make the final decision.
This-
Commissioner's gonna make the final decision.
But our motion was one of these three names.
Just to take these three names to the community. I'm sorry. We would approve these three names to be taken to the community
Okay.
to see what their input is. Then it'll come
Yeah.
back to the board in order to make the final decision. And it may be Trading Ford Park at the Yadkin.
Yeah, they may come back with a better option. Okay, we got a motion and a second.
It might come back as Guy Coleman's granddaddy's bridge.
Yeah. Okay, cast your vote. I think I already did mine, didn't I? Okay.
All of the votes are in.
Mr. Shell, can I have 10 seconds?
Yes, sir.
10 seconds.
Yes, sir.
And
Put
that
those
vote
names back
passes
up,
5-0.
please. Davy, can
Yes.
you put those names back up?
Yes, on the vote.
Hold up on the vote.
Max, she's taking you 10 seconds there, buddy.
I'm taking 10 seconds right now. People in the audience, this is the first opportunity. If you like number one, this one right here, raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you like this one, raise your hand.
Which is this one?
Second.
Yadkin River Crossing.
There comes one. Okay, if you like the third one, raise your hand. Okay, just that really informal thing.
Well, people do
This
vote.
one probably came in first. Okay.
And you forgot to ask about the one without the river.
Oh,
Left you totally out of that, Commissioner Jarvis.
to get that.
Okay, I would just like to say one quick thing here before we move on. You know, Max mentioned that this is gonna be a great, destination for the citizens of Davidson County, and not only citizens of Davidson County, but people who wanna travel and enjoy the different, historical, parks or this, but you know, really, this is, I'm a firm believer this is gonna be regional. I don't think it's gonna be just Davidson County. We're already getting interest from like Davie County that wants to talk to us about how to develop this park, expand this park to their side. And, I think Spencer's looking at a greenway that goes all the way from there, all the way up to the train museum. So, but the potential of this is gonna be rewarded. I mean, and I think you're gonna see a good return on your investment down the road, a good return as far as recreation and entertainment, and a good return on your dollars. I think you're gonna see that money coming back to Davidson County and a lot more than is gonna be spent. But,
Well,
you know, that's just, I can see it, and I didn't like what somebody said, but I may not live to see it, but I wanna see it. But I at least want my grandkids to see it. I want them to have things, you know, but,
The thing that Max didn't touch on today, so that everybody knows, this year I think the county would put 300 and some thousand into it. The staff and Chris and Thomas and everybody working together was able to acquire, I think it was 1.3 million, was it, Chris, and other grants, whether it was a Parks grant or from Duke Power or different variations. We're supposed to start breaking ground on phase 1 this summer. I think Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, June, is that right, or July? Okay. So that way we can start seeing some progress in this area. So I think the citizens is gonna start seeing some things coming available there.
and we got two people just excellent, right? Chris Watford and Lee Crook that has been taking some folks on tours, but it's gonna be a lot better when we get those walkways done and we got people calling now that let me know when the tour is. Let me know. You got a lot of history out there. Most citizens don't even know about it.
And one other thing I do want to touch on is the economic side of this. Edgar Wood Products, who's building in our business park, is also putting a greenway around the outside of their facility. That way, part of their whole thing is their employees being able to walk, whether it's after work or maybe on their break. It's close enough to this park that we could actually go under the bridge there if we get the access to have it all connected together. So it's something I think maybe we could look at in the future. But the fact that that company coming from Europe likes these things, likes seeing this type of activity and a better quality of life for the citizens of Davidson County to have something to go to, have something to walk, do something in the afternoon. Maybe you get home in the afternoon and just, you got 30 minutes or 45 minutes before the sun down. You can go out there and just take a stroll, take a breather. It's about quality of life, and I think other companies are seeing that as well, so maybe we can see some more economic part of that. It's not just spending your money, you're getting an asset, but also we get a return on investment for you guys.
Anybody else? Okay. Former Commissioner Sim DeLapp?
I just want to say one thing that was important. This all started with a number of years ago, a lot of years ago. There was an old bridge out there on the edge. Everybody thought it was falling down. And, Board County, after it was accepted by Rowan County, they changed their mind and said, we're not gonna do it. And our county commissioners at the time, some of the guys who was anybody else alive up there that was there then? Anyway,
Everybody looking hard.
they had the courage to take the deal, which was not cost us $2.5 million. But the state fixed the bridge and made it drivable and gave us $2.5 million to take care of it. So if you hear somebody saying that old bridge cost $2.5 million, it was not correct. That's what we have as sort of a foundation to get started. We can only use it on the bridge, but it was a tremendous opportunity that they had the courage to stand up when they were probably misunderstood by a lot of people in this county. So, you get something for $2.5 million tax. And so I applaud them for what they have done in this process and the vision that they have had in this process.
Thank you, Sam. For a clarification, because there is a lot of people that think we gave $2.5 million for that bridge, and that's not true. Dr. Walser, would you please step back up to the podium, please? You stand right there. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Dr. Walser for recently being the recipient of a Governor's Volunteer Service Award for focus on the needs of Davidson County and the North Carolina citizens. During his career, he spent 37 years in education, including 12 years as superintendent of Davidson County, of the Davidson County Schools, and a stint as chairman of the State Textbook Commission. In 2005, he received the Order of the Longleaf Pine from Governor Mike Easley. He was elected to the Davidson County Board of Commissioners for 8 years, where he served as chairman from 2009 through 2010. In recent years, he has focused his efforts on acquiring and preserving the historical pedestrian Wilcox Bridge, connecting Davidson and Rowan counties over the Yadkin River. Using his strong leadership skills to establish a steering committee for the project, the group has plans to build a park next to the bridge and create a destination for residents to enjoy for years to come. Because of these volunteer preservation and community building efforts, Dr. Max Walser has been formally recognized today as a recipient of the 2018 Governor's Volunteer Service Award, which reads, Governor's Award for Volunteer Service. This is certified that Dr. Max Walser is hereby awarded the highest designation of appreciation for distinguished volunteer service to the people and the state of North Carolina, and is to be granted and extended all honors and courtesies provided by this office, entitled thereunto by this certificate of recognition and appreciation, Roy Cooper, Governor, dated April 5th, 2018. Let's give a round of applause for Dr. Walser.
I'm not going to make a speech. Thank you to my committee. Thanks to the committee and thanks to you all.
No money came with that, did it?
I got it.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
Thank you very much. Thanks to you all. Thank you very much. That's right, not mine off. Everybody's up there. Not mine. I'm sorry. I'm gone. Too much time.
You gotta stay for the duration of the meeting since,
The committee can go. I'll stay a little while. Okay, you gotta stay.
Okay, next item is bid award for audit contract, Dwayne Childers.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Bringing before you requests on behalf of the Finance Department for the financial audit services. I'd like to take this time to introduce the proposal analysis group that helped me grade these, quite frankly. Jane Kiker, our Finance Director, and there's Lori Cooper, Assistant Finance Director. Lori, wave at us. And then Robert James, Purchase Contracting Coordinator. We did not reach this decision in haste. We were very thoughtful and methodical because we, each of us knew the importance of this decision, especially moving forward. Our recommendation is for Martin Starnes for the Financial Audit Services Award, and we'd be glad to entertain any questions that you may have. Jane, do you have anything you'd like to say?
The only thing I would like to add is Martin Starnes and Associates has provided us excellent service for the past 13 years, and they have really gone over and beyond. And like I said, we would like to recommend them again.
This is a company that's doing a lot of the counties across the state too. They're familiar with what we have to have and this type of thing, so.
This is the same one we've been working with, right?
Right.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. And then they talked about last time a new system of analyzing I can't remember exactly what it was, a new number system.
They're gonna have to do more compliance testing.
That's it. Yeah, but they're fully aware of it, yeah.
Right.
I think they do about 30 counties and about 80 municipalities. So.
They also do the cities of Thomasville and Lexington.
Okay.
the car rigs that did 6 counties, were any of the counties even comparable to Davidson County in size and?
I think that they had some, but that audit firm didn't have a good peer review, so we didn't really look into that.
Okay.
Because of that.
So that's not their bread and butter for what they do.
Not. Martin Starnes does 85% government accounting hours a year.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, are you looking for a motion?
Okay, no further discussion. Do we have a motion to approve this contract?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract as stated.
Motion to approve the award to Martin Starnes.
Mhm.
Okay.
No second.
You got a second? Cast your vote.
All of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Okay. Reappointments, Board of Health, Lillian Coots, Health Director. Zeb?
Yes, sir. I think we have Ms. Kuntz here. We have 3 appointments or reappointments to the Board of Health. Dale Swicegood, Doug Cope, and Becky Simmons. All 3 desire to be reappointed. The terms of Mr. Swicegood and Mr. Cope fill specific roles on the health board that are required. Ms. Simmons serves as a public citizen member. There have been 2 additional applications for this, position as well. And so, this was sent to the health board for review on March, 26, 2018. So I guess, does the health board have a recommendation as well?
We're just excited that all 3 members would like to serve again. They're all in their first term. They can serve a maximum of 3, and Ms. Simmons has been a very active and engaged board member, so.
Okay, I'd be interested to hear Commissioner Troy.
No, I'm ready to make a motion.
All right, make.
I make a motion that we approve these 3.
The reason I say that, Commissioner Troy happens to sit on that board also.
And
I put a lot of respect on what he has to
it was
offer.
approved unanimously by the board of health too.
So you've got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second, cast your vote.
All of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
We got a legislative meeting in the toolkit, Zeb, if you can.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I think at the April information meeting, we talked about this. Every year we, help with the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. We meet with our legislative, delegation and talk to them about the goals of the association, statewide. Normally we do this at a mayor-manager's meeting, and it just so happened that the one in April was an elected officials dinner, so we didn't get to do it. And it was said that we'd do it at the May mayor-manager's meeting. 2 things that we talked about was, is there anything else the board would like to include with what we talked to them about? But we also have a scheduling conflict for that day as well, because there's a legislative update that all of them are going to be at for the chamber that morning, and the chairman and I are scheduled to be at a mayor-manager meeting in High Point with all the mayors and managers there. So I guess the dilemma is, how do we want to handle that? I mean, normally what we do is we they'll all be together, so it may be that we schedule, you appoint somebody amongst you, and y'all set a meeting after the legislative breakfast there, and I'll go to the mayor manager, and the chairman can go as well, and if he needs to stay back, I'll represent us at the mayor manager. So I guess I'll put it back on the floor for you guys to discuss.
Pin drops.
What was those dates again?
It's May 15th, and like I say, that morning, is it 15th or the 14th? 14th, I'm sorry. 15th is our meeting. Monday, May 14th. And the chamber has a legislative update from our legislators that morning, so they'll all be there. They won't be at the elected officials. Normally they're at the mayor-manager meeting. So what we've got to decide is how we're going to set, we'll probably ask them, will they stay right after the meeting to go over the goals? The question is, how do you want to do it? Do you want to break it up, or how do you want to approach this?
If they stayed after that meeting, it looked like it'd be best.
I can't be at, I actually have a class in Greensboro being.
What is your
represent me?
recommendation,
Good, thank you.
Ted? You know the outlay. What is your recommendation?
Well, all these, Commissioner McClure and Commissioner Jarvis sit on several committees with the association, so they know the goals probably as well as anybody. We could probably maybe get staff to schedule a meeting with them right after this to sit down and go over the goals, and you and I can go to the mayor manager and share what's going on with the county with the rest of the folks that we deal with there. Or, like I say, if you want to stay back with those 2 guys and talk to them, I'll be more than happy to represent us at the...
Well, with the knowledge they've got after being so involved with the state association, I was leaning that way.
Yeah.
But we can have 3 there, can't we?
Right.
So is there anybody else Lance, Don, y'all want to go to, or leave it up to those 2? And they can bring it back to us, okay? So, do you need a motion on that, or are we okay with just deciding it? Is that, are you okay with that, Steve?
I'm planning to be at the breakfast.
Yeah, common consent would be
Okay.
fine.
See, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I
all
think that might be our
Did you
best
say
option.
common consent or common sense? 'Cause
little
we've
bit
got,
both.
we've got one, I don't know about the other.
Motion that, do we need a motion to?
I don't think so.
Jarvis? Okay. So we're good, Everybody knows where to stand. Okay, sounds good. Okay.
Just go on into closed session. I think Alan
Well, we
wants
got
to
one
stay
more.
here a
We
little
got
longer.
one more.
I thought Alan wanted to
Oh,
stay
I
a
see
little
what
longer.
you're saying, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we might wait and put him after the
I think
public
we're
hearing.
gonna hear that after the public hearing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Okay, discuss and explore combining services with City of Lexington Garage, Ed.
This is, get direction from the board. Before I went to my little vacation to Archdale, we had a meeting with the City of Lexington and looked at areas which, you know, we talked about at the time of maybe trying to combine some services to kind of get some synergies to be more efficient. We're in a situation now where Lexington's having some issues with their garage. We have a garage, they have a garage. We actually have a garage that we're not using very much out at the landfill. So, and their garage is a little bit more extensive than ours. They do rebuilds on transmissions and motors. Most of our garage work is just PMs, preventative maintenance, oil change, tires, minor repairs. So we thought this might be a good opportunity that they're looking to do something different, to maybe see what we can do with both garages, to maybe see if that would be something that we could work towards as maybe how we could help each other. We talked about outsourcing we outsource all our rebuilds, letting City of Lexington's folks do some of that, and us maybe doing some of their PMs, and kind of slowly along see if there's some synergies there that we can work towards to make our both garage operations a little bit more efficient. And I guess my question is, does the board have a problem with us going down this continuum? We'll keep you updated as to what we're trying to do, but the first stage is just try to see if we can work together, swapping off some different jobs with each other. Does that sound fair, Mr. Manager?
Yeah, I think so, Deb. It's, you know, one of the things we have to think about is if we were starting this process over, would we create all the different garages? And I think the answer to that is probably no. We would probably try to do as productive and efficient work as we possibly can. So believe it or not, one thing happened to us and one thing happened to Deb all at the same time, and we actually were emailing each other and said, you know, let's go back and take a look at this garage situation, because we do all of our work in-house. We have 5 certified mechanics. I know that's going to help, obviously, with the sheriff department vehicles and things like that. You're running vehicles 2 people at a time at different locations, dropping the vehicle off, putting it in line, getting it worked on, coming back, and we're working right on the site there, getting them done in and out as fast as we can. We're not having some of the issues that maybe we're hearing that you guys are having with some repairs. So we're going to, as County Manager said, we're going to, if you guys are okay, we're going to just start tiptoeing into this situation, and then give it about a 4-month trial. I've asked our mechanics just to help you guys out. Your mechanics will help us out, and we'll worry about we'll keep the inventory separate, and then we'll worry about the cost as we move forward. But if we can't live together, then we're not going to get married.
That's right.
I think probably we're going to find out here in the next 4 months if we can do that. So a target date is kind of around September, see how it works. But we'll start moving in some different mechanics and some equipment around the end of this month, if you guys are fine with it. Our board's fine. We're trying to create some kind of efficiency and synergy, as the manager says. So, well, I think both of us feel worth a shot in.
Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't be combining the garages in. We'd just be.
We would actually we'd start moving. You have 2 facilities. We have 1 facility. And so we would actually move into 1 facility. We would start the process of moving into 1 facility. We don't have any efficiencies per se with trying to run 3 different facilities. You have 2 garages and we have 1. So I think we're going to try to get
One at the landfill, it's not being used right now. Okay, so we're only using 1 right now.
The other thing is Lexington also has a person on staff as we get ready to go through this Viper conversion that actually upfits their police cars with the radios and, the lighting system. So they should be able to lend us some assistance there because we're gonna have to do quite a few changes as we go through this process.
Is the garage, I don't know how big the garage is out at the landfill, is that just a regular car garage or?
It's a heavy equipment garage, it's got
Okay.
bigger doors on it.
So, how many bays is it, do you know? Do you know, Mr. Childress? Just two? Okay, so it's a small garage. Okay. The reason I ask is I know we need a new bus garage for our county school system, that's why I was asking how many bays it was. Okay.
And I think we have 3 mechanics over here, and we've got 5, 6 doors maybe, I think, at our garage. So we have 6 stalls, so we have capacity there too.
Okay. Can we look, see how much land we've got around the garage out at the landfill and see if that's something maybe we could, add to out there for that?
Yeah, we can check
Okay.
into that, sure.
I'm bound and determined before my 4 years is up, I wanna see a bus garage being built.
I make a motion that we start dating with Lexington.
I second.
The two managers need to get up and hold hands now.
So we got a double date motion, so do we have a second?
Fell
We got
through.
a second, all,
That
cast your
deal
vote.
just fell through.
Now, this is on a trial basis.
Yes.
Trial, yes.
If it doesn't work out, they're not gonna want it, we're not gonna
And y'all
want it
gonna-
if it doesn't work
When,
out.
Mr. Truel, whenever you dated back in your day, didn't that pretty much be a trial basis? Didn't always work out.
Yeah, I'm still working on a trial.
You know this is being filmed and Susie's watching, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you got the vote in yet?
Commissioner Crotts and Commissioner Tool, can I have your votes, please?
Yeah.
Thank you, all of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Can I have a motion second, go into closed session?
Motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Get a second, all in favor?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Did we lose part of our crowd? We sure did.
Okay, we got everybody here?
Motion to go back in open
All right, got a
session.
motion to go back in open session, got a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Mr. Fry, will you please provide a report on closed session?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, the board considered several matters in closed session. Under real property, the board gave direction to the county manager for further negotiation. In closed session for attorney-client, there was certain information shared with the board for informational purposes. There was no formal action taken by the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fry. Okay, we've got a public hearing, approval of discontinuation of Davidson Rescue Squad Incorporated's ambulance franchise. I declare the public hearing open. Chuck, will you lead this off?
Mr. Chairman, the board has received notice from Davidson County Rescue Squad of their desire to terminate the franchise which had been previously granted to them by Davidson County. Pursuant to the provisions of the Davidson County Ambulance or Non-Emergency Ambulance Service Ordinance, the county, by action of the Board of Commissioners, can terminate any franchise upon 30 days prior written notice to the franchisee. It's my understanding that that notice has been given, and further that the clerk has published a notice at least 10 days before the meeting in a newspaper of general circulation within the county. It's my recommendation, based upon the request of Davidson County Rescue, that following the public hearing, that the board terminate the ambulance franchise with Davidson County Rescue.
Okay. Are there any questions by the board, Mr. Fry? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak at the public hearing on this matter?
I am speaking in favor of the discontinuation because that is what the provider desires. I will be speaking in favor of the discontinuation of the discontinuation if the provider ever desires that. What makes transition so unwieldy is this medieval relic called a franchise.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Anyone else?
Thank you, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. As we looked at this, we thank the county for allowing us to have the franchise to begin with. As I come in as the board president and Christy Leonard was the vice president, we met on several occasions and we went back and we revalued our assets. And after meeting with the county manager and all that, and we realized that we was in a financial strain. And that was our decision. And one of the decisions now is for us to go back to our roots, where the squad has been established for over 75 years. I've been part of that for over 35. Is go back to a volunteer organization, take care of the heavy rescue, rescue on the lake, and all that. We will still be able to assist Davidson County EMS on medical assist calls, but our primary thing will be this rescue squad, like the name says.
Okay. Just for the record, and we're on audio, would you tell your name so everybody?
Danny Roland Sands.
Danny Roland. All right. Thank you, Danny.
Right. Thank you. Chrissy, do you want to say anything? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any further discussion by the board?
I just want to confirm that there will be no penalties or anything of that nature. Is that correct?
That's the board's choice. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't see penalizing them, but
Yeah.
that's your choice.
I understand. I mean, I've been active in how they came to this conclusion and kind of forcing this, along. The county manager has received their, financial reports from their CPA. The rescue squad just had their elections and changed their board quite extensively. They, at one point, were making money off of the, non-emergency a long time ago. Then they had some management changes and they added some staff that they probably didn't need, and it started losing money. So the board has now decided to go back to their roots, and as Chief Sam said, that they're just going to do what they're supposed to be doing. I make a motion that we.
Wait, one second. Okay, no other? I declare the public hearing closed.
Sorry.
Now.
Sorry, I wasn't even thinking about it being a public hearing. But you heard what I said. If there's no other issues, I'd make a motion that we approve it, and thank the rescue squad for their services to the county and the citizens that we serve, with no further action needed.
Second the motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Mr. Barrett, can I have your vote, please? All of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I think it's board president now, not chief.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a road closure, portion of Holmes Road. I declare the public hearing open. Chuck, would you lead this off, please?
Mr. Chairman, back on February 27th, the Board of Commissioners adopted a resolution to close 2,300 feet of Holmes Road. Holmes Road bisects the I-85 Corporate Center. It previously, it moved from the site of the previous location of the Belmont House and served one residence on the back side of the farm. That residence has since been discontinued and removed. The closure of the road is necessary for the development of the track by Edgar. The county owns the property on both sides of Holmes Road, and upon request of the Board of Commissioners, the state has discontinued the state maintenance of the road. It is the recommendation of the I-85 Business Park Committee, and it is the request of Edgar that this board approve the closure of Holmes Road.
Okay.
Is that a dirt road?
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
It's hard packed gravel, I think.
Yeah.
But it's improved beyond just a dirt road. Yes, sir.
There's no property landlocked back there of a residential nature or anything like that that's going to deprive anybody of the liberty of their property.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner.
Property that we own and Edgar owns.
Right. Just want that.
That Edgar is purchasing. Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak at the public hearing?
To clarify, is the effect of the closure that Edgar is now the owner of the property?
No, sir. The effect of the closure will be to vest title to the property in the county.
Well, we've had quite a bit of history in the city of Thomasville of road closures. And what I always like about those is that the effect of the closure is the transfer of real property, territory from the government to the private sector. So I will not be in favor of this one. For that reason.
If I might, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate what Mr. Hill is saying. The distinction here is that when a road is closed, the adjacent property owners on each side, their interest goes then up to the center line of that roadway. Here, Davidson County owns on both sides of that road. And so what will happen as a practical matter is what I was just saying to Mr. Hill, is as the county owns on both sides of the road, the county will then acquire that property underneath the bed of the road. Now, some of that property is subject to the lease and the right of first refusal that the county has entered into with Edgar. So at some time in the near future, that interest may well be conveyed to Edgar pursuant to those agreements the county has. But I just wanted to clarify what I had said to Mr. Hill a moment ago.
Edgar, or if Edgar decides not to exercise that option, another purchaser?
With regard to phase 3,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so it eventually will end up in the hands of the
Well, yes, sir. That's the reason the county's developing the business
private
park.
entity, okay.
Well, let us know when that happens, and I'll come back and speak in favor of it.
I hear you. Thank you, Mr. Hill. Okay, okay, Guy?
I would also like to add that the Planning and Zoning Board also looked at this, and it was their unanimous recommendation that the road be closed as well.
Thank you. Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, I declare the public hearing closed. Can I have a motion second to approve the closure of this portion of Holmes Road?
Motion approved. Close.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Cast your vote.
Commissioner Toole, could I have, or I'm sorry, Commissioner Toole, could I have your vote, please?
I'm
sorry.
Golly.
They're marking him absent, so it'll go through the vote.
God.
My bad. Thank you. All the votes are in. Yeah, I'm gonna pay for that one. That motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the next is public hearing that's been removed, Project 4. So we move down to public hearing in Project R. And it's been, is there a motion that we table this until the May 3rd?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, cast your vote.
All of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Zoning request by Deborah Burkhart in Silver Hill Township containing .68 acres from RA1 to HC. I declare the public hearing open. Guy, will you, we'll ask that the application included in the agenda packet be accepted into the record. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Any further on that, Guy?
For the record, you have a request by Deborah Burkhart to rezone property located in Silver Hill Township, tax map 13. Tax lot 53 contains 0.68 of an acre, more or less. Property is located on the northeast side of the intersection of NC Highway 47 and Beck's Church Road. The address is 2445 NC Highway 47. The request is to change from that of RA1, Rural Agricultural District, to that of HC Highway Commercial District. The Planning and Zoning Board did look at this on March the 6th. It was recommended 5-0 to recommend approval of the request as it was presented to the board. You see the area there highlighted in yellow. It is at the intersection of Beck's Church Road and NC Highway 47. I'd point out real quickly that this area is a commercial service center on the county's adopted land development plan. It is contiguous to Highway Commercial, and it is NC Highway 47 and Beck's Church Road and Old Mountain Road is also all considered arterial streets, and that's where we promote commercial development to occur.
Okay. I see y'all, Mr. and Miss Burkhart?
No, Miss Burkhart.
Miss Burkhart, okay, I apologize. Tell us what you want to do with this property.
I buy wholesale and I sell it, like half off of the retail price. So I've already established that, and I've had it going for a few months now, and it's doing very well. So.
Okay. Are there any questions by the board?
You got a building or something there?
I'm sorry?
You have a store or a
Yeah, it's a store.
That's a place
This,
where
this
the,
building used to be, they used to restore old cars.
That was
in-
my husband's.
Okay,
Yeah.
in all reality, I think it's probably been, an oversight of
Well,
the zoning
yeah.
It could have
for a
been that
period of
or,
years.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
even,
it's been stores in there before.
Yeah.
yeah, even before that, I mean, I grew up on Mountain Road for all my life. There's
Yeah.
been something in and out of that,
Yeah.
place
Is
there.
that the place where the little cafe used to be, or a little
No, that's next door.
door to it?
So
Okay.
what you're talking about where it says HC on lot 97 there,
Yeah.
I'm assuming?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that used to be.
Oh, I see. The site's actually on the
now
corner.
a
I see it.
daycare
and
that,
we own the daycare that's
Yeah.
right next door now.
yeah,
Okay.
Wayne, Mr. Griffin here, he owns the daycare part. But that little white cinder block building
Yeah, I
is the
remember
one
that,
right
yeah.
there on the corner.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
But, if there's no further, I mean, is it still open or is it closed?
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak either? Thank you, Ms. Burkhart.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this rezoning request?
Here is some jargon from policy 5.4. A collector street or secondary street at the intersection of an arterial street. Wouldn't anybody but a professional planner simply call that a busy corner? I believe I'm beginning to understand the interplay between policy 5.4 and policy 5.7. The idea is to encourage all that consolidation and expansion without triggering the dreaded thing called encroachment. How do we know if there is encroachment? The neighbors will tell us about it. The NAI fiasco demonstrated that neighbors can go on the warpath at a moment's notice, even if there is nothing to go on the warpath about. The silence of the Burkhart neighbors speaks volumes. The contiguity of the existing HC on two sides does the rest. I'm in favor of the request.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Corman, what is staff recommendation again?
We recommend approval based on what I've already
Okay.
spoken about.
Okay, is there any further discussion by the board?
Thank you, Zeb.
All right, I declare the public hearing closed. Can I have a motion second to either approve or deny this rezoning request?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we got a motion?
I'll second
We
that.
got a second. Cast your vote.
All of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Ms. Burkhart. Okay, we have a rezoning request by Bridget and James Jones in Helen Springs Township containing 3.11 acres from RS to RA2. I declare the public hearing open.
Mr. Chairman,
Guy?
forgive me for interrupting, I apologize, but I know that one thing Mr. Corman is always concerned about is specifically in approving the rezoning request, that the board adopt the resolution on statement of consistency. I think.
We need to go back and amend that motion to continue that?
I would amend my motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Do we need to
adopt
revote?
the
Do we need to revote?
It may just make it
Okay.
clearer.
Consistency.
Okay, I understand.
That'd be
Good
verbal,
point.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Chuck. That was a good point.
Verbally.
Okay, the motion should read, motion, to approve the rezoning request and adopt the resolution on statement of consistency. Is that correct, Commissioner?
That is
Short?
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, cast your vote.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Attorney.
Yes.
All right, you have a request by Bridget and James Jones to rezone property containing 3.11 acres from RS low-intensity residential district to RA2 rural agricultural district. The property is located on the west side of Frank Stoner Road, approximately 750 feet northwest of the Floyd Church Road intersection. Property is further described as being Healing Springs Township, Tax Map 7, Lot 55, and the address is 253 Frank Stoner Road. The area in question is again highlighted in yellow that you see here. Frank Stoner Road is a state maintained road. It does dead end here, but the subject property has frontage along the Frank Stoner Road. It is contiguous to an existing RA3 district. The applicants are here if you'd like to hear from them at this time.
Okay. Mr. Ann or Ms. Jones, would you like to say something about?
I was just pretty much going to say that we are going to use the land for our residential, our permanent use. Pretty much rezoning it because it was only a stick-built property. We was unaware of that whenever we actually went and purchased the land. We went through all the lawyers and everything, and then it came back that it was restricted land. We could only do so much with it. We were just pretty much trying to get it rezoned so that we could go and get something else put on it rather than a stick-built.
Okay.
I've got a question. Who'd you buy the mobile home from?
Who?
Was it a dealer?
It would be Clayton. Yeah, I mean, we would go through.
How did they not know that?
Oh, no. Who did we buy? No, we bought it from a personal. Yeah, we bought it from somebody personal. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Okay.
Clayton's aware.
Yeah, they're aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they were going to try to get it out from underneath me if I couldn't have. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this? Mr. Hill?
This is the standard double-wide request with no complications. A parcel of RS is begging to join the RA2 that surrounds it on three sides. Let it happen.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. All right, and the recommendation of the...
We recommend approval, Mr. Chairman. We feel like that the proposed rezoning is would be consistent with the comprehensive plan of the area where this is located. This was a part of a platted subdivision. That's the reason why it did carry an RS, but as you can see, it's at the very end of the road, and we feel like that they're actually going to put in a double-wide manufactured home. It'll have a permanent masonry foundation, so it'll look very consistent with the overall rural character of the area, so we recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. Okay, is there any further discussion by the board?
All right, to start off with, she thought it was zoned differently because of it could be a stick built. Are the others around there stick built now? I mean, we're not that much.
Yes, sir. There's a house right here on 56A, I believe it is. But like I said, the reason it carries an RS district, it was a platted residential subdivision plat that was put on record years ago, and anything that was platted like that, the county adopted, and the trend was to actually upgrade the zoning rather than downgrade. So instead of being open land like that, had it been left open, unsubdivided, it would have been given an RA2 classification. Yeah. But because of the recorded plat, that's why it was given an RS.
The land right across from it's all RA2, and I think there's some mobile homes in that particular area. I think I see 2 or 3 across there.
Yes, sir.
Single wides. But if you're ready for a motion, Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to make one.
Okay. All right, I declare the public hearing closed. All right, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve this and also the consistency statement of consistency that staff has prepared.
Okay, have a motion to approve this rezoning request and adopt a resolution on statement of consistency. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, cast your vote.
Chairman, can I have your vote, please? Thank you. All of the votes are in, and this motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith-Jones. Okay, rezoning request by Quality Oil Company LLC in Cotton Grove Township containing 2.27 acres from HC to LI. Declare the public hearing open. Guy?
You have a request by Quality Oil Company LLC to rezone property containing 2.27 acres from HC Highway Commercial District to LI Limited Industrial District. The property is located on the east side of NC Highway 8, approximately 85 feet north of the Owens Road intersection. Property is further described as Cotton Grove Township, tax map 9, tax lot 5, containing 2.27 acres, more or less. It was the recommendation of the planning board 4-0 to recommend approval of the request as it was presented. The area that you're looking at is currently undeveloped. It is fronting Highway 8. This is towards Lexington, and this is south going towards Southmont. You can see that we do have some industrial development happening in close proximity. This is the Winston-Salem southbound railroad on the back side of the property. This is inside the city limits, but it is been used for manufacturing process. This is a legal non-conforming use. It's just outside the city limits, but it had also been used for manufacturing. I think now it's being used basically for warehousing or for distribution. You have other commercial entities on both sides of the highway through there. If you read your minutes from the planning board, there was a gentleman, Mr. J. Michael Lemon, who owns, with a partner, the Trade Winds building, on 13A, and he had expressed a concern about the introduction of industrial this far south of where the industrial processing had been done, but he has since understood the type of business that Quality Oil is wanting to do, and we now have a letter that we have for the file that he now supports the proposed rezoning. I can enter it into the record. I'll if you'll just trust me, I have that in my possession. So we would like to hear from the applicant that what they're doing is they're wanting to put a propane gas distributorship at this location.
And eventually retail, is that what I read?
Eventually, yes, sir. He'll talk about that.
Okay, Mr. Dinspear.
I'm Daniel Dinspear with Quality Oil Company. I want to thank the board for allowing us to come and present. I also want to thank Davidson County. We've been proudly serving your community since 1929 with retail stores and home fuel oil and propane. So we appreciate y'all guys and appreciate what y'all meant to our company. We're just also want to thank Josh and Guy and how helpful they've been to us in this whole process of helping us come up with the proper plan and to put this together. And we really appreciate y'all guys and what y'all the time that they've taken and allowing us to come see you on a couple of occasions, and we really appreciate that. So, we have another distribution plant here in Davidson County, but we're leasing it. The property that we're on is a lease site, and we wanted to own our site. And this corridor is, we're trying to grow this area, and so this will allow us a lot safer during inclement weather. It allows us a little bit of a closer proximity to a customer base that we're doing. We serve residential, we serve agriculture, and we serve commercial. Those are our main customer base that we serve. So this is a centrally located place for us to expand our business in Davidson County, and we hope to actually at some point as we grow. It's in, a little small right now for this for this type of investment. But we hope to add retail to it, which we would sell gas logs, fireplace type equipment, things of that nature, and home heating systems, things like that. So
that kind of retail.
Okay. Are there any questions by the board? Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak either in favor of or in opposition to the zoning request?
Both the planning board resolution of recommendation and your proposed resolution on statement of consistency say that policies 4.3, 4.5, and 4.7 support the rezoning. Those are understatements. Policy 4.5 expressly mentions, quote, light industrial, unquote, and policy 4.7 expressly mentions, quote, distribution facilities, unquote. If there aren't changed or changing conditions here, there won't ever be any anywhere. You'll get to cut a ribbon and have your pictures in the paper without resorting to GS 158-7.1. What more can you ask?
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Okay. Mr. Corman?
Barney stole my thunder, but there are a number of policy statements that support, and I did want to make sure that you saw what they wanted to build out there. I thought it blended in very well with the community out there. So at this time, we'd recommend approval.
Okay. Any further discussion by the board? Okay, I declare the public hearing closed. Can I have a motion second? The motion being, can I have a motion to approve this rezoning request and adopt the resolution on a statement of consistency, or either deny this approval request?
I'll make a motion to approve the request and adopt the resolution of the statement of consistency.
Okay. You got a second? Cast your vote.
Every time I think of the propane, though, I think of King of the Hill. Dang it, Bobby.
And that request is approved by the rest.
Gotta have your propane and your propane accessories, right? Yeah.
Rezoning request by Lowe's Home Centers, LLC in Conrad Hill Township containing 5 acres from RA1 to HI. Declare the public hearing open. Guy?
Yes, sir. You have a request from Lowe's Home Centers, LLC to rezone a 5-acre portion of a larger tract containing 24.16 acres from RA1 to HI Heavy Industrial District. The property is located on the south side of Clarksbury Church Road, approximately 1,000 feet west of the NC Highway 109 intersection. Property is further described as being Conrad Hill Township, Tax Map 34, Lot 14, and it does contain approximately 5 acres, more or less. And the address for this is 822 Clarksbury Church Road. The recommendation of the planning board on April the 3rd was 4-0 to recommend approval as it was presented. The site that we're talking about, again, is this area in here. It's on the back side of the existing manufacturing facility that's already out there. Lowe's Road was actually part of the old NC Highway 109, and it's course, now just, dead ends into the Lowe's property, but, that was all part of a 109, and of course, the new 109 is running parallel, north and south along this corridor here. There is one residence still, back here on the back, but we, did send notice to that individual, and he had no, concerns about it that we're aware of.
Is that just join his, the other Lowe's properties?
Yes,
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Mr. Cooksey?
Yeah, if you'd like to come on up.
Good evening and thank you. My name is Rip Rollins,
Okay.
representing Lowe's. This property is adjacent to where we operate a flatbed distribution center as well as a millwork facility. It's at the intersection of two major roads, and it has rail service, I think, which is consistent with the comprehensive. The rezoning would be consistent with the comprehensive plan. We are looking to utilize that property for additional trailer storage, and really that's the objective for the property, and no intent to change any of the current operations. And I'm here to answer any questions that the board has.
Okay, is there any questions by the board?
How many tractor and trailers you got going in now there a day? There is a pile.
There are a lot. I don't have that in front of me, but yes, sir, it is a lot.
Just been doing work across the street from you, and I think somebody said 75 or 80 coming in or something.
That sounds, I would have said 100 probably.
Yeah. Nothing to do with this, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience? Thank you, Mr. Rollins. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak either in favor of or in opposition to this zoning request?
You know the answer to that question by now.
I do, sir.
There's a typo in the planning board resolution of recommendation. The very last line, it should say H-I instead of L-I.
That's correct.
Since you value contiguity so highly, the error that brought this matter before you is the best argument in favor of the request. There was so much HI already there that somebody missed seeing the RA1. If you're happy with the 19.16 acres, you ought to be happy with the 5.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Okay. Mr. Corman, again, the staff's recommendation?
Yeah, we recommend approval. This is an established, commercial and industrial service center. It is contiguous to HI. This is our corridors map that we have on our land development plan, and this is where you are. As you can see, this is a corridor of economic opportunity between this interchange and the town of Denton, and it's very suitable for what Lowe's wants to do out there, so we would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. Any further discussion? If not, I declare the public hearing closed. Mr. Corman, Mr. Fry, there's been a note that we've got a typographical error in that. Does a motion need to be made in correction of that?
Well, what that is, he spotted, I had seen the same thing on the planning board resolution. I'm not sure that what you have on the one that you prepared for the, it should be HI, yes, sir.
So the motion needs to include that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The publication, Madam Clerk, was for HI.
Yeah, the legal advertisement was for HI.
All right, I do have one question. Is the address Clarksburg Church Road or Lowe's road?
This is Clarksbury Church Road on the north side of the property, and then Lowe's is right here.
The site we're talking about is on Lowe's Road, isn't it?
Yes. But I think what the address was addressed from the front here, and their official address is Clarksbury Church Road.
That's kinda funny. Okay.
Okay.
And,
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, the resolution on statement of consistency is correct.
Okay.
I believe it's just the planning board.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no need for the amendment, because what we've got
What you all have
postured is
to be
correct.
signed off on is correct.
Okay, we've got a typographer on that. Okay, thank you. All right, can I have a motion and a second to either approve or deny this rezoning request and adopt the resolution on statement of consistency?
Mr. Chairman, the rezoning request appears to be in proper order. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to approve the rezoning request and adopt the resolution on statement of consistency. Cast your vote.
All of the votes are in. And that motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you, folks, for coming out. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Not really. Appreciate it.
Thank you.